What's up, guys? ShartimusPrime here, doing another Marvel Legends action figure review on the Deluxe Hulkbuster from the Marvel Celebrating 85 Years series. I'm excited for this one. I haven't longed for a new Hulkbuster terribly bad. I like the Toy Biz one that I have on my shelf. However, getting an updated version, getting this particular version right over here is something that I'm excited to see. I'm glad that they went with a different design. This is the one that kind of goes along with the Extremis armor. The packaging looks great. You can see everything inside. You do have to put some pieces together to fully form Hulkbuster. You get the Tony head right over there. You get the Celebrating 85 Years logo on that side, and then you get a nice image of Hulkbuster along with Iron Man over there on this side. And then on the back, you get that image blown up again. There's a read-up over here. If you want to read it, go ahead and pause it right now. Get Celebrating Marvel for 85 Years logo on the top. Not much more at the bottom. So let's get to it and crack this thing open. If you're trying to get your Marvel Legends, you can do so.
Big, big, big. Get your big badass toys at BigBadToyStore.com. Click the link in the description below.
And here's the new Hulkbuster figure out of the packaging. And this thing is pretty damn cool. I really did enjoy it. I've taken all my photos and this thing was a blast. Is it perfect? Do I have gripes? Oh yeah, I'm going to bring up gripes. There's some comic inaccuracies to discuss here as well, so I'm going to reference those for sure. And just to be brutally honest, man, you can get the Marvel Select Hulkbuster for a lot cheaper. Just putting it out there, it's still cheap. It's not like it's gone hella high in the aftermarket. So if that is the figure you prefer, I recommend you pick up that figure. I'm just going to get that right out of the way. But this is not that figure, and we'll get into what it has to offer. But yeah, let's get into it and get a closer look. So I gotta say, I do like how this head sculpt or helmet sculpt looks. I really love the gold on this figure for the most part, but I really think this looks awesome. It looks great. It looks just like the cover of Invincible Iron Man number 12, and that's where this particular Hulkbuster is based off of. There's 5 Iron Man models that are out there destroying and causing havoc, and Iron Man has to stop this one. He's got his Extremis armor, but the design is different from what we see right here. This only appears on the cover, and it's like everybody made this armor based off of the cover instead of the interior artwork. So, you know, there's a Bowen statue that has some pretty awesome paint. There's the Diamond Select Toys figure, which also has some awesome paint going on right over there. But it is worth noting that in that issue, this Hulkbuster fights the new Avengers. So there's a lot of new figures that you could pit against this figure. You know what I mean? We have the new Ms. Marvel, the new Luke Cage figure that works, even though I think he fought this off screen. Okay, I'm going on for a while. But yeah, I compare this head sculpt to the Marvel Select Hulkbuster with, damn, that head is really sunken in there. This shinier red paint just looks better. The gold is a lot more consistent. So I do have to get that out of the way. I like the overall paint scheme more, the color choices on this figure more so than this one. So getting back to this though, it doesn't look bad. It's just not my preferred red. It does have like this pinkish kind of shine that comes through when you really get a lot of light on it. And it does have a lot of hot spots on it when you try to photograph this thing. I mean, you can clearly see the detail of my light bulb right there in the shoulder. But this does look pretty damn good when you get into some of these detailed sections right here on the shoulders. That looks great. Again, the helmet looks awesome. The arc reactor looks good, even though terribly inaccurate from what we saw in the books. But it does come with some assembly required, and you have to put these 2 vents right here on the back of it, and they are specific. I like that these shapes are facing different directions to make it easier to figure out which side's supposed to go where. It just helps a little bit anyway. So I do like that. Get some nice silver paint on the back over here. Looks pretty cool. But yeah, let's go ahead and remove this. And this can be a little bit annoying sometimes when you're posing the figure around. I found like the top pieces right here splitting away from me, but I do love the detail on the inside. It would have been nice if they painted this silver. I may just paint this silver myself. Well, I would be a little bit scared to smear some paint on the inside of the figure that I don't want to have, but that does look very cool, the way they sculpted that. And then you get this whole little bonus right over here where you can see him see his parts and everything right there. So I think that's pretty dope. We also have the interchangeable head option, which is awesome. I really like that they included this other Tony head. You go ahead and port this on. It's tricky figuring out exactly which way the neck is supposed to face, but since there's like a rear collar piece, or I'm calling it a back collar piece right there, and you have this ribbed pattern right here, I'm assuming that's the front right there. So a lot of here's and there's, but let's get this ported on. And there that goes. And it's a good looking Tony Stark head. I really do like it. I will say he looks a bit shiny. He does look sweaty, which makes sense, but I would prefer it to be a little bit more matte than it is. It's just a little bit tricky taking pictures of it just because it does look so glossy. And again, like that's just the downside of this figure for me is that it's just, I don't know, almost a little bit too shiny everywhere. Now you can see on this head sculpt, we have this nice, great looking silver right over here. However, on the inside piece, this is molded plastic and it has a little bit of a brownish tint to it, which is kind of neat. You can see it kind of reflect brown sometimes. I do think that's cool. However, this solid silver looks better to me. I just kind of wish it had that paint scheme going on right over there. Let's put this all back together. Before I do so, I will mention, looking at the figure in the packaging, this whole marbleized gold, which I think looks awful, stands out more so when you don't have that front chest plate on. When you put this front chest plate on, it's not like that marbleization goes away or anything. Oh, by the way, looking at the back of it without that piece on there, that looks badass. I want to paint that too. Damn, there's a lot of customizing options that you could utilize with this figure. You can go nuts with this piece and paint up all kinds of parts, getting that all put back together. I have to admire that we have some nice silver paint on the armpits right here. I do like that. That looks really good. I don't know, it just adds something to the figure having that silver in there. It breaks things up. The arms look great. God, I love this gold right over here on the forearms. That's awesome. That's like that Marvel Select quality of paint, It actually looks better on the Marvel Legends, I think. There's more detail here. You don't have the gridded pattern on the Select with this one. So, when Marvel really tries, or when Hasbro really tries, they really do nail it. You don't just get the fist hands with this figure. You also get a set of grabbing hands, which I really do like. You do get one for each hand, and they do look really good. I do like them. And I like how they can grab, too. So I was able to get Captain America's head buried in there. I did need some sticky tack. But yeah, and they have hinges that move up and down. They don't get too hindered by this thing right over here. It has some flex to it, so I do appreciate that. And this is coming apart on me as I move it around. Look at that. That's the downside of this figure, is that you have pieces coming off, man. But I'm not going to put it back together right now. I'll do it in a second. But you can see how we have a flat gold, almost beige color right over here. I wish they were able to paint over this. The silver right here and the hips looks awesome. You can see all kinds of wires and pistons. I think that plastic looks really good. I do like that. And then you have some gold plastic right here that I wish was painted, but this is painted really nicely. Again, there's back piece coming off. But yeah, that thigh right there has some really nice looking gold. I really wish that they applied that paint right here on the knees. It's nice silver over here, and then you can see some pistons on the back of the heel over there. And get another little piece of silver over here. You have these vents all painted properly, which look really good. So I do like that. And just looking at the toes, you get this little floating piece right here, which really helps with articulation. We're going to get into the articulation in just a minute. But while we're looking at this closely, damn, I wish they gave us toe joints. It's like in the model design to have toe joints right there. They could have done it, right? Right? I wish they could have. I do like that they painted this at the bottom, though. That is very cool. So just getting that nice little detail right there, I do appreciate that. Now getting into the articulation, which I should have showed off with this Tony head first off before getting into it. And was his hair blonde in that comic? Anyway, we don't see him like this in that issue at all whatsoever, but I'm still glad that they included this head like this. You have a ball joint at the base of the neck and at the head. So he'll look up that much, move down that much, turn his head side to side, and you have great pivoting. Now getting the helmet back on, which by the way, the innards of the helmet look awesome. I really like how they did this. That looks great. I'm very happy to see that silver paint in there. But porting this right back on here, you can rotate the head side to side. It doesn't really move down and up. Like, you really have to get your fingers in there and pry that away to get it to look up, and it shifts down just the tiniest bit. It's really hard to move. You're mostly getting side to side motion. And if you want it to go any other direction, you kind of have to pry it apart a little bit to get that to move. These shoulder pads will rotate forward and back a bit, so that does help, and they're soft and flexible. You can move the shoulders outward pretty far. I was able to get them farther out, around above 90 degrees a little bit. And that's usually where these things pop off right here, is when I'm moving those shoulders. You can rotate them forward and rotate them back. You have the bicep swivel. You have the single jointed elbow, rotates at the elbow. All the hands turn side to side and hinge up and down. Oop, there goes a piece. You have a diaphragm cut, and it pivots at the diaphragm, crunches forward a bit, crunches back a bit. You have a waist cut right over here, which can look really ugly sometimes. It's not my favorite piece of articulation on this particular figure. You get the hips that move outward a bit, and he can kick all the way up, but I did get some scuffage at the top of the thighs right here on the red plastic, so be wary of that. You may be scuffing your figure as you do this, or you will be anyway. I did. All right, and it will move back a little bit. Upper thigh cut, or mid thigh cut, actually. It's right in the middle. And then you have the double jointed knees, pinless double jointed knees anyway, looking really good. No side to side rotation, which is a bummer. I wish you could at least turn side to side at the ankle, or if they had a cut right here, that would have been nice. You get that floating piece that helps allow, and it's a very soft floating piece, by the way, so you can get the ankles to move down. They will move up a bit, and he has beautiful ankle pivot. Whoa, this Hulkbuster is very tall. You could see that it's standing at around 9.5 inches. Now to get into the size comparisons, you can see we have our Marvel Select Hulkbuster from Diamond Select Toys next to this new Deluxe Marvel Legends Hulkbuster, and they are both very good. I really like these both. The articulation and posability is just better with this figure. You get a whole lot better paint with this figure over here. This one costs a lot more money. This one costs less money. If you favor this one, I don't blame you at all whatsoever. Shoot, the verdict's still out for me personally. I really do like these both, but I've really been enjoying this one too. It's hard to say, and it's bigger and more display options, more accessories. And then for a Marvel Legends Hulkbuster comparison, you can see our MCU Hulkbuster Build-A-Figure, and then we have the Toy Biz Hulkbuster Marvel Legends figure from way back. And I know some people would have preferred that this figure right here was designed based off of this look. I don't blame you for that at all whatsoever. I actually would have really enjoyed that myself personally. However, I do like having a different version of Hulkbuster over here and not getting the same exact version, because I still really like this figure a lot. I really do enjoy having it on the shelf, and I'm going to sadly replace it with this one just because it's larger, it's more massive. Maybe I can fit both of them on the shelf. I don't know. But anyway, this one seems like it does have a little bit more mass. It does have the side-to-side ankle rotation that this one doesn't have, so that does bum me out. But I did notice the swirling in some of the red plastic over here. That really irritates me. I'm not seeing that with this figure over here, so that makes me very happy. Then here's Hulkbuster next to the Extremis Armor Iron Man, the recently released version right here. And I want to see how this new Tony head fits on this regular-sized Iron Man figure, and you could see that the head is just way too big. Yeah, so they had to kind of upscale the size of Tony's head to match the Hulkbuster over there. And of course, I got to compare a Hulkbuster next to a Hulk. I picked the 80 Years Hulk, and these two look pretty badass side by side. I feel like the comic versions, they're closer to the same height, but I've gotten used to Hulkbuster being a little bit bigger. Maybe he is supposed to be a little bit bigger. People have corrected me on that before. And then here's Hulkbuster next to the new Avengers that we see in issue 12. We have Spider-Woman, Iron Spider, Captain America, and then we have a few other celebrating 85 years figures that came out this year that you can have fighting this Hulkbuster. You got Luke Cage, Ms. Marvel, and Astonishing Wolverine. I believe he had the Astonishing Wolverine suit when he was in the new Avengers. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he did. And then here's Hulkbuster next to your average 6-inch scale figure. We have the Marvel Legends Big Time Letdown Spider-Man. Oh, I know nobody's inside that thing, so can I ride the Hulkbuster, huh? Please? Please? Can I? Ow! So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I certainly did enjoy making it. I took a lot of photos, so if you want to support this content, take your thumb and shove it over onto that like button. And if you want to support even further, you can go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well. And a big thanks to all the supporters of this channel via membership and Patreon. Looking forward to the breakfast party this Monday. This figure is fun to pose around. I did have a great time with it. I really did enjoy it. The aesthetics is probably the biggest downside for me, just having another Hulkbuster, and I guess absolutely not the same size. The Diamond Select version is way smaller, but seeing one with that brilliant paint scheme, the fact that they have the Bowen statue out there with that brilliant, super shiny paint scheme, that makes me long for it with this figure over here. It's very shiny, but it's more reflective than the metallic look than really want to see. You know what I'm trying to say? Not really? Okay, well, it gives me more sunspots than it does like a metallic sheen is what I'm trying to get out. My mouth over here, it's kind of a tricky thing to pinpoint because it still does have a metallic look to it, but it's certainly not the kind of candy red that you see, or the candy apple that you see on the Diamond Select version. So I can't help myself but continuously compare this figure to that figure. I wonder if you are too. But at the end of the day, it's a $70 figure, and it does cost a lot, man. It's expensive. So it just depends on how badly you really want a Hulkbuster. It's one where I can't give like a blanket recommendation to everybody that you have to get this figure. But it is a very, very good figure. I really do like it a lot, man. It does have its downsides, but overall, I had a blast with it, and at the price point of around 70 bucks, I'm going to give this Hulkbuster a Sud rating of...
I love it!
And I'd like to know what you guys think. Huh? Do you think it's amazing? Do you think it's falling too short? Do you think it just costs way too much, and you're going to get the other version? You're going to get the Marvel Select version? I want to know in the comment section below. I do read those. If you want to follow me over on social media, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, whatnot, and on Mercari. And I will catch you guys later. Peace.
That's crispy.
Hey, new ShartimusPrime videos. Hey, you should click one. Yeah, click on one of them. Or subscribe if you haven't.